Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're going right back into r/talesofneckbeard, but beforehand, be sure to like the video, comment down below during the video if there's something you'd like to discuss, and afterwards consider subscribing and becoming part of the amazing notification squad. Let's go! Our first story comes to us from username InkMage94. This is the part where you run away. Had an interesting neckbeard encounter several months ago, would have posted it earlier, but I didn't know about this thread, TLDR at the bottom. So I have a close friend, let's call him Jay. Jay resembles a neckbeard, he struggles with his weight, he sweats quite a bit, both because of his weight and because he's on some medications, and he has a beard that does tend to drift down to his neck area. However, while Jay resembles a neckbeard and while he is a massive nerd, he is not remotely like one in personality. An important thing to note is that while Jay and I are close, we aren't dating. He has a girlfriend currently living in a different state while he attends university, and Jay and I hang out on occasion, which is usually fine. However, the fact that someone like me, a responsibly attractive female who loves a variety of nerdy things and has a bubbly and kind personality, is happy hanging out with someone who resembles a neckbeard can sometimes give the other neckbeards ideas. Jay and I were at the cinema to watch Spider-Man Far From Home. We were having a fun chat about the MCU, our knowledge of the Spider-Man comics, and where we wanted the MCU to go in Stage 4, and so on. About 10 minutes into our chat, I smelled the rank stench of body odor, dirty sneakers, unwashed clothes, and general lack of self-care. Cue our neckbeard, or N for short. He was hovering off to one side, fedora and all, in a Spider-Man shirt that hadn't seen a washing machine since Tobey Maguire was swinging around New York. He stuck around for a while longer until Jay left to go to the bathroom, then he struck. At first, N played it reasonably normal, if somewhat socially inept. Complimented me on my Black Panther shirt, discussed Endgame, talked about other nerdy things, the usual. But then he got weird. He compared seats, he was in the front row, Jay and I were in the middle area. He acted all sympathetic that we were so far back. Really, I preferred sitting in the back since sitting too close strains my eyes. Then N pulled out a second ticket. I don't know if he had a friend that didn't show up or if he bought two hoping that he'll find a milady to accompany him. However, he was really pushing for me to leave Jay and sit with him. I politely refused again and again while waiting with less and less patience for Jay to return. Then N came out with a line that I'm never gonna forget. "It's sweet of you to pay so much attention to someone so far below your caliber, but honestly, such a delicate little gem like you should be with someone who won't abandon her, someone who can be counted on to defend her." And then he tried to stroke my hair. Wrong move. See, I play D&D, I play a bard, my favorite spell is Vicious Mockery. It's given me a lot of chances to learn how to improvise some truly fantastic insults. It took me about half a second to get right into N's personal space, as close as Jay, who returned from the bathroom to watch the showdown, and I can recall, my response to him was as follows. "If you don't get out of my space and leave me the frick alone, you absolute dumpster fire, I will take that filthy hat off your head and shove it so far up your butt that you'll have to make a deal with Mephisto to get it out. And how dare you act like you're any way better than Jay, considering he has a girlfriend and you get your rocks off harassing people at the movies." I was cut off there from the manager who arrived to deal with the three of us. Considering that plenty of people had seen N hanging all over me when I was clearly uncomfortable, it was agreed that I was provoked. It was also pretty undeniable that I was the aggressor at the end. The manager decided that as long as N stayed in his seats and we stayed in ours, we could all watch the movie. And stay in his seat N did. The only times he looked back towards Jay and I, there was more than a little fear in his eyes, and it was gratifying to see. TLDR, neckbeards never expect miladies to fight back, and bards come out with the best insults and threats. Do people seriously go to the movie theaters sometimes with the intentions of picking up women? Isn't that what bars are for? Maybe I'm just missing something with his 300 level IQ play there. I'm glad that he didn't ruin the movie entirely for you, because Spider-Man Far From Home was actually a pretty good movie. I liked it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Phase 4 looks like. Our next story comes to us from username A Useless German. Neckbeard has a thing for everything German. Hey, so this is my first ever post on Reddit, so I'm sorry if it's not the best, and I'm sorry if this is not the right subreddit for this. No, you're good. Some background. I'm a 17-year-old girl and a junior in high school. I am from Germany and moved to the US when I entered middle school, so I had a pretty thick accent when this was going on. Last year, I do not have this thick of an accent anymore because of almost a year straight of intense speech therapy to get rid of it. Personal choice. It was quite obvious I was German, and I did not hide the fact. Most people flocked to me because of my accent, and I really appreciated everyone who tried to learn about my culture back home. Except this one guy. He rode and still rides my bus for a long time, and I did not really acknowledge his existence is because I always kept my headphones in. He is kinda chubby and has very, very patchy facial hair. I have looked over a few times to see what he listens to music-wise, and every time it's been an anime OST. One day, I forgot my headphones at home, so I took the commute to school just staring out the window and listening into conversations around me when I heard someone mention Germany. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to call him Derek. He was a loner and only liked to argue. I'm not sure if he has friends, and I'm not sure if he goes out of his way to get any. Now, I have heard Derek talk on a few occasions, so it came as a shock when he was talking in a very posh and obvious fake British accent. That is not how he sounded the other time I overheard him around school. He was debating with some other kid about German pronunciation, and this made me excited to see how badly they would butcher my language. The word they were debating was Deutschland, aka Germany. It's pronounced like Deutschland, but Derek insisted it was pronounced like Deutschland, and I can understand if one thought, oh, it's satire, he's making fun of the language. Oh no, he was being dead serious, so I decided to pipe up and say the correct way. I felt like I was the best person to do so. Actually, it's pronounced like Deutschland. No, it's not. I've been studying German. This is the way it's pronounced. Well, I can promise you it's not. He cut me off before I could continue. Yeah, and where did you learn that? I've watched many history documentaries, and I know I am correct. Listen, like I said, I had a very heavy accent. It was more than obvious I'm German. Well, I am German. I live in Stuttgart. Sorry if I mispronounced that. This is the way I was taught when learning German, my mother tongue. He looked at me dead in the eyes and said, well, you were taught wrong. Another time, the bus was filled and I could not find a place to sit, so I had to sit next to him, and my god, that was a terrible experience. He had such a bad body odor that every time he lifted his arms to adjust his headphones, I would almost puke. He took his headphones off and introduced himself to me. I do not know if he remembered our last conversation or not. He asked my interests and he paid half attention and started telling me all about his interests. I have an hour commute home on the bus. I would say his is 45 minutes, so for 30 minutes, he talked about his interests, off-brand, and furries. Who does that to a person you just met? For the rest of the year, I had to listen to him talk about the history of Germany to anyone who would listen. Most of it was either wrong or not quite right, and all of it centered around World War II. Plus, he went on and on about this anime called Hitalia, because it is about history or countries or something. It took everything in me to just bite my tongue and turn up my music louder. The last big interaction was at the end of the year last year. The bus was full and someone took my seat again, so I had to squeeze in wherever, and just my luck, the only seat available was next to him. So I put my headphones in and tried to survive the ride. This man has the audacity to grab my earphones and pull it out of my ear. What the frick? I shook it off because I do not like confrontation, and our conversation went like this. So you're German, right? Yes, I am. What is it like in Germany? Oh, I was so happy it was a normal question. I got quite excited to answer, but before I could, he continued. What are the girls like in Germany? They are like any other girl. I've always wanted a German girlfriend. Frick, they are so sexy with their big boobs and long pullable blonde hair. Plus, I've seen German X-rated movies. They are into some kinky stuff. I could only gape at this. I truly did not know what to say, so I started with something simple. Well, we are not all blondes. I'm not a blonde. I have dark brown, almost black hair. It is short as well. Well, that is because you're probably a mixed breed, not pure blood German. Did this dude really call me a mixed breed like I'm a freaking dog? Even with the look of disgust on my face, he continued to talk. You have the tots though. Do not like the short hair. You look dykish, but if you grew it out and dyed it blonde, you could be a perfect German girlfriend. I continue to stare at him. I beg your pardon? Do you like Hitalia? There is a female version of Germany, and if you dress like her and roleplayed a not safe for work roleplay, I think this could work. By this time, we have passed a few stops, so some seats were empty. I grab all of my stuff and sit in the farthest seat away from him, reeling over what had just happened. To this day, he still tried to talk to me about all this stuff he wants to do in our roleplay, and I just try to avoid him as soon as possible. I wish I was not German. You know, somebody's a really bad person if they make you regret your nationality. If there's any advice for me to really say, it's that tell somebody about this. Like seriously, instead of going to Reddit, tell somebody in person. That way that they can go to that person and tell them to stop being the creep. Everybody just wants to be happy in their life, and that sucks when other people say stuff that kind of makes you just regret living. Our next story comes to us from username Suki Wolfram. Neckbeard at a furry convention. First time poster, long time lurker. This is a short story and happened recently at a convention that took place over the weekend. I'm not sure if this truly counts as a neckbeard experience, but it was definitely uncomfortable. So my husband and I decided to take a short trip to a furry convention that a mutual buddy of ours was selling his wares at. It was officially the first day of the convention, and after spending the precious day in the dealer's den setting up the booth, we were excited to walk around and see what the other vendors were selling. I noticed an artist that I am a huge fan of, and we meander over to take a look at what she has to to sell and to see if she was open for commissions. Now, I was wearing my comfy clothes, jeans, a tank top, and a semi-sheer buttoned-up shirt, as I am looking through this art sketchbook debating on if I wanted to purchase an original or get a custom piece when an artist noticed the tattoo on my right arm. She asked if she could see it. Excited and always willing to show my ink off, I happily obliged. I must note that my husband was standing to my right looking over her books. In order to show her my tattoo in its full glory, I have to unbutton my shirt, while continuing to talk about the tattoo and meaning behind this. This is what grabs the attention of the beard in question. I suppose the sight of boobs overrode his common sense, as me unbuttoning my shirt caused him to come charging over. He pushed my husband out of the way and all but motorboated my chest in an attempt to ogle my sweater meat. Taken back, I'm stunned. I step back and look from the beard, whose smell is starting to fill my nose, to my husband, who is looking like he is ready to completely rip the person apart. The artist and her companion are completely stunned as well and are staring at the beard. Noticing his error, he manages to stutter out, "Sorry, I just wanted to look at the art books," before scurrying away. My husband quickly pulls me to him and asks if he actually touched me and if he needed to chase him down to report him to the convention security. I explain no, he didn't actually touch me and I'd rather he just stay with me. I did manage to show the artist my ink and we had a bit of a chuckle about my breasts just being that darn impressive. Honestly, I would have reported him myself, but how depraved do you have to be to go full charging, sprinting at somebody just when they start to unbutton their shirt to show somebody something? Like, seriously. Just kind of thinking, boobs! You know, when you think about it, that might have been the most exercise he's done that entire week. That story's about as ridiculous as it is stupid. Like, seriously, how? That is just weird, and that's definitely a weird part of the day. And with that, that is going to have to be it for the video. If you had liked what you had seen, be sure to like the video, comment down below what you liked about the video, and consider subscribing to the channel, becoming part of the amazing notification squad, and checking out the Discord in the description box down below. I will be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.